With Friday, the weekend, and a long weekend at that, Xur has officially returned to the tower in Destiny 2. So we're going to go take a look at what he's got on the front page. And he actually has class items again, in case you wanted to farm some out. Which I don't know if it has been changed. I was under the impression they were a one-time buy. But these can, at least have in the past, been bought multiple times. So go ahead and farm some out if you got the coins to bear. And there's actually a lot of great exotics I can see right on the front page. First being the Huckleberry catalyst, which this makes it so that the ambitious assassin, or I should say the subsistence that is already a part of Huckleberry, is now improved to the point where even if you have one bullet left in the gun when you kill something, you are refilled to maximum. It is very good for the ad clear. It makes it one of the good contenders, especially since originally it was ambitious assassin, which wasn't bad, but it was reworked to basically make it so that subsistence was a full refill always. Very good. Definitely would recommend it if you're a fan of Huckleberry or ad clear SMGs. Speaking of ad clear, though, there also is the Trinity Ghoul catalyst, which we've seen in the last few weeks. But again, if anyone doesn't have this, it makes it so that the lightning rounds that come off of Trinity Ghoul can be applied from any sort of arc damage. It used to be just precision kills, but now it can be any sort of arc kill. If you have Trinity Ghoul and you you throw an arc grenade, you get an arc melee kill or something like that, that would charge it. Next, we have the Celestial Nighthawk, something that got mega important with the introduction of Still Hunt. Basically, Golden Gun compresses from 3 shots to 1, but if I remember correctly, it does like 5 times damage. Just to explain, it's 1 bullet more damage than if you just had the 3, although I think Celestial Nighthawk and Star Eaters were still in a fight over which one does more damage overall, or which one was better. Regardless, I would definitely recommend this for all you hunters that like Golden Gun. Next is a Titan favorite, is Severance Enclosure. I almost said the experimented trigger part. Basically makes it so that anytime you get a melee kill, you get an explosion. Same with finishers. This is a build I have set up on my Void Titan that I just absolutely adore. It's unkillable. It is pretty good, especially when you realize that some things like the Void Overshield melees, even when you just have a Void Overshield, it still counts as a powered melee, so you can get a basic melee to make explosions. Plus, combine this with the Stoicism buff, or the perk on Stoicism, it is certainly some fun. Next, there is Crown of Tempest, which makes it so that any arc ability or Jolt Final Blows will restore your arc abilities. Now, this isn't a chunk of energy return, it actually is a cooldown reduction buff. It goes up to 3 times, and that does count Jolt Final Blows quite well, so it's really easy to keep up if you just equip something with obviously Bolt Shot or something otherwise arc-based. It is very good at just making sure that you have all of your abilities up constantly, especially when you do something like Arc Souls and Electrostatic Surge, if I'm remembering the names right. And of course, there is the respective class items available for all characters in case you wanted to get a class item. And next, for the exotic weaponry, there is the Hawk Moon, which has Quick Draw this time. The associate perks are the Polygonal Rifling for more stability, Alloy as always, Quick Draw for increased handling, and Combat Grip for weapon recoil control. So it is a very stable version of Hawk Moon this time around. Next is the Arbalest, which is, whoa, I imagine an example of how the mighty have fallen. Originally, it just used to be anti-shield, then it became anti-shield and anti-barrier, but then with the rise of other anti-barrier options and a variety, and even the introduction of a catalyst, but the change to elemental shields, it became less and less of a need. It's still nifty, especially annoying in Crucible since it is a special ammo linear fusion rifle that can still one-tap to the head. So if you're looking for some options either for anti-barrier, Crucible, or just a nifty gun, I would say this one, but it isn't exactly meta nowadays. Next is the Hard Light. Similarly so, it has the elemental rotation, which does benefit from a variety of stat bonuses for the other elements when you do have them equipped, sort of like Elemental Capacitor if I recall. But that is pretty much it. Aside from having ricochet rounds and no damage fall off, that is pretty much the end of Hard Light's benefits. It used to be better again before the shield element change, where it wasn't so much of a negative damage damage reduction for having the wrong element taking on a shield. Now any element can take on any shield without much issue. So Hard Light kind of faded back outside of the Crucible. Next is the Prospector, which I've been dying for a buff because it is nifty, it is good, but man, for burst damage, it doesn't have a lot of damage and it runs out of ammo so quickly. An arc grenade launcher that does have a damage over time and you can simultaneously explode, but unfortunately there isn't a buff for detonating more than one at once. It's just all of them at once. And then at the same time there are sticky grenades, which can be a little bit weird, and it is full auto with an enhanced ammo capacity from its catalyst. It is definitely fun. I just wish there was more effectiveness to it. It's a very good burst damage option. The problem is you just don't have the damage officially. It used to be good for Riven, but then Riven changed a bit, and I don't think it has been ever since the same. I think people only use it to see what it's about and then realize it's not that great and unequip it. But from there, just jumping into the main weapons, the Dire Promise, a kinetic adaptive frame hand cannon, the Brass Attacks, a void heavy burst sidearm, Timeline's Vertex, a solar adaptive frame fusion rifle, the Stochastic Variable, an arc lightweight SMG, the Bad Omens, a aggressive void rocket launcher, a throwback, the Negative Space, a solar adaptive frame sword, and speaking of sword, it seems like we're going to have the class swords permanently, so just make sure to check in with your various characters to see what you've got available for your classic swords. And lastly, there seem to be the Escalation Protocol armor available for your variety of 3 characters, which if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I like to rep this armor set in partial on my Titan. With that, that is the end of the Xur inventory. My name is TheMadScorpyon, and I will see you in the next video.